Hello, and welcome to another installation of the MVoices Podcast. I will be your host, and my name is Shirt. So, oftentimes when we talk about disability and inclusion and accessibility, we think, oh my goodness, what are the policies saying? What do they do? Who do they serve? What is the government doing? What about people in such and such systems? But we forget about the people that actually do the work to bridge these gaps when it comes to all three elements and persons with disability. And here today, we have a sign language interpreter that is doing a tremendous job when it comes to bridging the gap between the deaf community and the hearing community. Hi, Tivina. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into sign language interpretation?
Oh my, I don't know where to start from, actually. I think it's a whole day that I would explain to you, but to cut it short, my name is Timina Wasike Dorothy, and I am a sign language interpreter associated to Uganda National Association for Sign Language Interpreters, whereby we use Ugandan Sign Language. And I'm a mother of two, a boy and a girl. So proud to always say that.
Ooh.
Then the other thing is I hail from a family of deafness, where my mother is deaf and my stepdad. So at the end of the day, we ended up, just like how any other person learns the local language, the local dialect, to be able to communicate with everybody else in the family or even the community. Whereas for us, sign language is a first language.
Ooh.
So that's where my history all lies from. To the point that even my children can be able to sign in the deaf community.
That is such a beautiful background, because sometimes we have people in different fields and we don't really know how they got there or why they're in that space. But I think that is such a beautiful thing that even your children are learning how to sign and they're able to talk to people that are part of the deaf community. Yeah. So, just what can you tell us what is that something that you see that most people in society never notice about communication barriers?
So when you talk about communication barriers, sometimes someone always think, no, it's only either if I can't be able to listen in English, then I'm only used to the local language, that is, let's say, Luganda, I know the Western language. Then if I cannot communicate with that person in English, that's a communication barrier. No, it all goes back to other aspects of the language that we use. Take, for example, if a deaf person is in a community, their audio abilities is cut off. How will they be able to navigate in the society? That's one thing we always need to ponder on. So when you look at them being able to communicate in sign language with the other party, or even not being able to, don't you think they're in a different world altogether? They are. Then at the end of it all, it's even in the deaf people, there are those who have gone to school, they are able to communicate with the advanced sign language, and they are able to read and write. How about a deaf person who has gone to the village and they cannot? They've never stepped in class, and all they can do is like, this, they'll do some gestures to show you that this is what I want and that. But if in case that girl is raped, that deaf girl in the village is raped, is she able to really explain to you how it all started and how it all ended? Yeah. What has she gone through? So that is where the communication gap is. So that's why we in sign language interpreters are very fundamental to be able to pass on the message to the deaf community, and also from the deaf community to the hearing community, or to any other person who is out there, and they are able to be understood.
That makes sense. But that also brings me to a question. What do you mostly see when you're with a person and you're signing to them and then someone else is speaking to them? What type of people are there? Because I know someone would rather look at you than look at the person that they're speaking to. What do you often see when it comes to that?
The person's always like, okay, this person is throwing their hands left, right, and center. Are they really understanding me? Sign language is a gestural language. It's visually motivated, and how we communicate there, and that brings us back to how are signs formulated, or the orientation of signs. There are those signs that you can look at. Take, for example, a cup. You hold the mug and you drink. That's a cup. This is a plate because you put food on it. So you see. So at the end of it all, now when it goes into the other secular world, there are specific signs you're supposed to use. And then someone's like, "Have you really got what I've said? Are they really understanding? Come on." They're human beings just like you. Their cognitive abilities are open just like yours. So they're able to understand what you are communicating. Then it all falls back to when you're communicating with a deaf person, the person will be like, "No, the interpreter, tell them this and this and that." No, you are communicating to them. I'm only a bridge. Look at them as they are signing. Be able to listen to what I'm saying. And then you're like, "Oh, now I see. There is sense in it." And then this thing that people have in their minds, like, "No, a deaf person, I don't think they can really have. I don't think they can really understand. Neither can they defeat me in this." You're wrong. You are wrong. They can do something but the most important thing is a sign language interpreter available. I've been to events and people wonder, how does a deaf person listen to music? How do they even tell that this is this song? What's a sign language interpreter there for? I am going to tell them that, this is, let's say, who should I say? This is Chitaka. And it's going to be like Kalakata. You get it. And you'll be able to understand that, this is the message. How are they dancing? How is the beat? Are they near the loudspeaker? So at the end of it all, they are included in the society.
That makes a lot of sense. So I just want to understand, from your perspective, has there been a day or a situation where your presence as a sign language interpreter has really made a change? Could you share an experience of something like that?
In which kind of field? Because I've been to very many fields. Like, now let me state like two. In the political field, I was told to go and interpret at the press conferences at National Unity Platform. And when I was called, they wondered that, do you mean deaf people have the right? They know who Bobby Wine is? I'm like, yes. He has a sign name. When you do this, do you know who this is? They'll be like, "Oh, that's the guy. That's our man. That's Bobby Wine." Then you tell them, when you talk about civic education, they are citizens of the country. They are able to go and out. They are able to go and vote, cast their votes respectively to whichever political party they need to do so. So at the end of it all, why people feel like, she's really doing something important. And I'm really so happy that even in the Constitution of Uganda, it's stated there that they have to give reasonable accommodation, especially for sign language interpreters, on all media houses. And I'm really thankful for all the media houses that are really bringing it as a mandate to bring the sign language interpreters on board. That's one. Two, I've worked with Uganda breweries. Part-time. Yes, I do work with Uganda breweries. And we have, because they have different beverages, so under Bell, I've been hired to the different events that they have. As long as it's a Bell event, I will always be there. Ooh. And I'm on stage. So this deaf person is also a consumer of your drinks. Whether it's, whatever company it is, they are consumers. And when I am brought for their functions, I am on stage, they'll be like,
we are represented.
We are going to represent, and we are going to represent the whole tribe. At the end of it all, because UBL says celebrate life every day. So why wouldn't an interpreter be there? And
that is
when
true.
I'm there, people are like, did you see the interpreters' vibes? And did you see the deaf people there? They really enjoy. So that's when we are all included in the society, there is always impact. There are many people who always come and find me after the event. They'll be like, "Wow, thank you so much for the good job. Where can I go and learn sign language? Because I know there's someone in my community who's not able to communicate and will always want to pick up 1 or 2, 3 conversations." You never know where a conversation takes you. Even just you being able to say thank you or how are you in another language, the other person feels appreciated. And they'll be like, "Oh, this person is going an extra mile to learn my language. Wow, I am really important in the society."
Yeah, that actually brings me to another question. You have mentioned 2 different spaces where your sign language interpretation skills were needed. Do you think as a society or a country or just at large, people take sign language interpretation as serious or serious enough?
Depending on what space. Now, because there is affirmative action, there is provision of reasonable accommodation to persons with disabilities in all spaces. We've seen it really happening. However, there are some people who be like, okay, we want to hire a deaf person, or we want to bring on board a deaf person or a person with disability, but we are worried that the cost implication comes into play. If you're looking at the best someone can always give, why are you looking at the cost implication? Yes, not every day that a sign language interpreter will be needed to support this deaf person. Once in a while, take for example, at meetings, in a workspace, they will always need a sign language interpreter to be able to understand whatever is going on and be able to communicate with one another. Then at the end of the day, you will see that everybody is brought on table. And at the end of it, all the SDG goals are achieved because no one needs to be left behind. No matter what, no one needs to be left behind. Just like in a family, you have, let's say, there's all those other children whom you feel they are brighter. And whenever visitors come in, you bring this other child, but there's one child you're leaving behind because they have a disability. No, they still remain a child. They have a right. They have a right to be brought ahead and even to be brought and introduced in all aspects of life. Yes.
So being in the community and the different spaces that you've been in, have you ever been in a situation where you felt like, okay, I think I am just here as a wallpaper, or the people that are in this group that are persons with disability, they were here for decoration. They weren't called because their opinions are needed or they matter, but we are here, Bambi, as, to just say we were inclusive.
Yes, not once, not twice.
Oh, wow.
Yes, when they tell you, there's a function going on, please, the interpreter, find where to sit. And the person you've come to provide a service to is deaf blind. Now, there's another category of disability. A person who is deaf blind, they will need to sit closer to the interpreter. And when you ask that, please, I request that my client sits just adjacent to me and I'm able to communicate. They'll be like, no, here right now at this time, there's a high officials. Please sit at the back. Why did you call me?
Yeah.
No, it's okay. We didn't call you but we want to show them that, we are inclusive, but you're putting me, yes, we are in a crowd. We are all invited, but you'd want to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces occupied by the other people that you feel like, yes, they are better off than this other person with disability. It's not really, I don't know what I should say, but it's not really called for.
Yeah.
Let's do something from the heart. Because even you tell that, this person is giving me something and it's really coming from a point of view that they are really appreciating. Whereas you're just giving me and you're like, have this, that off your shoulders, which ain't good.
That actually does make sense. But there's always 2 categories of people. There's people that, you're there. But then there's also genuine people that call deaf persons into spaces, or persons with disability in general, to have, genuine interactions, have inclusion. And they're very intentional about this. But not everyone is perfect. So I'm pretty sure they do make a few mistakes here and there.
Yes.
What mistakes have you seen that people like this often make that they could improve?
First and foremost, during the planning processes, you're planning for anything. Who are you? Who are your target audience? And if the persons with disability are included, are they going to take up forehand? Are they going to play a forehand role? Are they provided ably with reasonable accommodation? It's not important for you to bring a sign language interpreter, and yet they are not going. They'll be signing if the session was online and there's online participation. I don't mind. But how about you create a special camera for the interpreter? And let the other noise be there, but the interpreter is fully there. Then there are times when you're called as an interpreter for a function. They'll tell you we have a 3-hour function and would like to have you as an interpreter. You tell them, okay, will I be working alone? Yeah, because of budgets, because of this. So we decided to hire one interpreter. But remember, I'm going to I need to get breaks in between. But this, you'll be like, okay, yeah, we'll be getting breakfast on all those other interludes in between. But realistically, you're not going to. Me, the interpreter, won't have that. What's my proficiency after an hour? It will lack. So that's why I'm like, okay, you're doing this deliberately. Hire 2 interpreters and let the cost, because I'm more like the smaller version of an MC. So the MC will be holding their mic, moving around. Me, the interpreter, I'll be seated and I'll be moving my hands, communicating for 1, 2, 3 hours. Even if it were you can't, trust me, you can't speak for more than 30 minutes and you don't take a glass of water. So that's the same thing with me, an interpreter. Hire 2 interpreters. We have those 40 minutes, and then we shall work smoothly.
Yeah.
1, 2, the persons with disability who have been brought on board, let them not just sit there as a dummy. They can always have a role to play. I know at the end of it, it'll be like, okay, we just wanted them just to cover up, but they can be around. But are they really benefiting from this? Is at the end of the day, if I'm just going to come and sit like a picture and go back home, every day is a learning experience. I need to learn from the time when I come in and I go out. It will help to build on my cognitive abilities. Yes.
Yeah, that actually does make sense. You have mentioned that sometimes you are trying to sign for people and then you're doing this by yourself. Have there been times where you're signing and then you feel like the persons you're signing to are disconnected? If that happens, what usually is happening in the background?
Trust me, all human beings have different attention spans. Even if it were you looking at a screen from morning to evening, trust me, there are times you'd get that optical fatigue and you just want to go away and come back, reset your abilities and you come back and then be able to understand. And now for not everybody, but I believe even for persons with disability, they get that optical fatigue when looking at an interpreter, their eyes, they need to strain. So they need to have those breaks in between there. And then either way, you could make it much more interactive. Let's improve on our sessions, on our facilitations, on our presentations. Let them be much more interactive. Whereas someone's going to come, it's like if you are giving out a speech and you're just standing and you're speaking, the audience would feel bored. How about engage them? Let it be a two-way traffic, and then at the end of it, only now my audience is on this level with me. We had an 80-80, or not 80, and then it's a 10.
I think at this point you just want to tell us that we're boring. It's okay.
Not really.
It's okay. We have allowed. We shall retain that information.
It's every day a learning process.
Exactly. But you have mentioned that there are people that usually come up to you and ask, "Oh, I would like to learn how to sign." Are they always genuine people?
In the community, everybody has a different intention.
True.
There are those who will come to you, I want to learn sign language, but their aim is, I want to date a girl who is in the deaf community. Get to experience that and then move on. Then in the process of you're dating them, you're giving them this green flag and later you start giving red flags. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. One, there are others who are actually genuine. From just looking at an interpreter, they'll be like, I think I can be impactful. Otherwise, I think if sign language is the first language at home, I would have stayed home and kept what I knew to myself. Mm-hmm. But I decided to go to upgrade it, go to university, and then be able to learn sign language. How do you do it on a professional level? And right now, I'm making my mother proud. Not once, not twice. On a number of occasions, I've been my face is out there on the newspaper stalls. How does that make your family feel? Mm-hmm. You'd feel like, yes, but there's greater that is still coming. And at the end of the day, we all want to make impact in the lives of the people that we get to interact with. So if you learn sign language, how about you going onto a plane and someone is like, you want to order for coffee, you've gone to a different country, but someone comes up, oh, hello, are you stuck? Can I help you? Then they'll devise a way of communicating. It actually leaves greater impact. I, for one, I don't come from a Swahili speaking community, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I am at 6 in my Swahili.
Oh.
For the other local languages that I speak in Uganda, at least I can speak like 4. That's the Western language. I do speak Lusoga. I do speak some bits of Lugisu where I come from, though not so perfectly, but I can speak and also listen. Then I also do Luganda. I can try some bits of Acholi. So I wouldn't get stranded. At the end of it all, when I meet someone from the north, I'll be like, Kopango. They'll be like, hey, Kope. Then they speak. I'm like, I stopped there.
Oh. And I was thinking, for languages, I was about to say, I am jealous. Can I just borrow your brain?
Clock it.
Yes. So I would like you to tell our viewers / listeners what people need to understand when it comes to communication and inclusion of persons with disability, especially the deaf community.
One for one is that deaf persons are able to do the same things that you are able to do at different levels. You're going to find a professional barista and you'll be like, how did he learn this skill? You'll find an engineer. You'll find not for a pilot. I've not been seeing anyone, but you'll find an advocate who is deaf. They have the capacity to do each and everything just like you can. So at the end of it all, you shouldn't limit even other persons with disabilities. Let's include them in the society because they are important. If my mother wasn't included, I don't know where she would be right now. Neither would I. Mm-hmm. Because she was included, she's even gone to Kenya and I've not yet.
Oh.
So that's where she went for her other studies to upgrade. And then she came back to Uganda. Me, I've only studied here in Uganda. So because she was exposed, she's like, no, my daughter has to do better than I and my other siblings. So educate the deaf children. They'll become professionals. They never know. I think in the last general election, there was one deaf gentleman called Semere Sharif. He contested for president, but I don't know what happened in between there. Now you see, that's a bold move. You get it? So they have the capacity to be empowered, to live a life that is dignified, just like any other person. So I call upon all persons who are out there. If you have a child or a sibling or a friend who has a disability, please bring them on board. There are different NGO spaces where they can attain and get the best of life and become much better and productive in the society.
Okay, so for anyone watching or listening that would like to learn sign language, or at least, there's spaces. I've seen a cafe recently that has sign language plastered on the walls. Oh. It is definitely something I would like to interact with as a person, one-on-one, because it seems very new. And the fact that most people that work there are deaf people.
Yes.
I would definitely like to see that firsthand. But anyone who is watching the podcast or listening and that would like to interact with sign language or just spaces like these that are very inclusive, what advice would you give them? Please,
they are all around Uganda, let me say, because we have a space. There's a space at along Bukoto, Kanjocha Street at Alliance Francais, the school. So as you enter, it's called Silent Cafe. There's the Silent Cafe at Nakasero called Endiro. There's at most of the Endiro branches, you are able to learn sign language, just basics. And there's also other cohorts where they do teach sign language free of charge, and there are others where you have to pay. So please don't hesitate. There's Uganda National Association for the Deaf where they do have cohorts where they train in sign language, and it's always given out to the community to bridge on the communication gap. So feel free to hit our our offices, we can always contact you, give you the easiest core location where you can always learn sign language, because at the end of the day, we want to leave no one behind.
Thank you so much, Timina. Thank you for being with us throughout this episode. We hope you at least took a thing or two out of this conversation that we just had. And if anything, please always remember that accessibility is for all. Thank you so much.